Welcome to the fourth session of the online Permagarden Foundations course, Building Living Soils. In this session, you will see what makes a soil healthy and hear why healthy soil is a minimum standard for creating a permagarden. You will also learn some soil management techniques that can be used to build and protect soil health.
In the last session, we discussed water, the first building block of a permagarden. We reviewed methods to construct a garden that encourage water storage in the soil and ways to reuse wastewater. The second building block of a permagarden is soil. Soil characteristics can vary widely from site to site, even within a very small plot. Some soils are darkish brown, while others are more red or even white. Some soils are sandy, allowing water to infiltrate easily, while others contain large amounts of clay that make it thick and sticky. These soils seem to close up on the surface so that water runs off rather than draining down. When we look at the plants growing on different types of soils, we see that some appear spindly, yellow, and weak, while others are healthy with sturdy stems and green leaves. The characteristics of a soil greatly influence the health of the plants growing on it. Despite the strong link between plant health and soil health, many development programs fail to include training in techniques that can improve soil health. When we establish a permagarden, our goal is to improve garden production and subsequently boost the income and nutrition of the household. The crops in a permagarden rely on a healthy soil food web to grow year after year. In fact, one minimum standard for creating a permagarden is to build a healthy soil food web that can support sustained production. But what is a soil food web? A soil food web is the community of organisms that inhabit the soil. Healthy soils are living soils filled with life that we can see, like earthworms and termites, and life that we cannot see, like bacteria and fungi. Soil life plays a critical role in breaking down organic material so that it becomes part of the soil. As these organisms decompose organic material, they make nutrients newly available to plants. All plants depend on microorganisms for their nutrition. Soil organisms also help develop good soil structure. Soils with good structure can hold water and air in their pores and have plenty of nooks and crannies where nutrients can sit, creating a nutrient reserve for plants. Healthy soils provide plant roots with everything they need to grow: macronutrients, micronutrients, access to water and air, a moderated temperature that isn't too hot or too cold, and a loose and compacted environment that allows roots to explore freely. When roots are happy, plants are happy and grow much healthier. Soils with abundant soil life smell earthy, contain large clumps with visible pores running through them, and may be darker in color than other soil around it. As we will discuss later in the video, gardeners on any soil type can improve the health of their soil with management practices that feed and nourish soil life. So how can we tell how healthy our soils are? There are a few simple tests we can do to determine how capable our soil is of supporting strong plant growth. These include things like feeling the soil temperature, checking soil structure and compaction, and looking for life in the soil. A rapid soil test takes only a few minutes of our time and requires no equipment beyond a hoe or spade. You can learn about the 7 steps to a rapid soil test in the supplemental materials. Now, let's look at how to build or maintain a soil's health. What is an easy way for us to remember how to do this? Think back to session 2, when we discussed what is needed to grow healthy humans and healthy plants. Did you know that soils and the life that lives within it need the same things to grow and thrive? Soils need food in the form of organic material that can decompose and release nutrients and carbon back into the soil, air to aid in decomposition, water to move nutrients and microorganisms around the soil, and protection from extreme heat and cold in the form of mulches, stabilizing roots, and shade. By approaching soil management with care and attention, a household can ensure they are meeting the needs of their soil and promoting soil health. Let's look at a list of soil management techniques that have been used by previous development programs to see how they can meet the core needs of soil. Adding organic fertilizers, adding mineral fertilizers, reducing tillage, deep soil preparation, adding beneficial trees, adding water harvesting structures, incorporating legumes into a crop rotation, applying mulches or otherwise covering soils, using a hoe, animals, or a machine for tillage, incorporating residue and natural vegetation into soil, and building garden beds and pathways. Feel free to note down other techniques that you think of as well. Take a minute to match each technique with the basic needs listed on the right. Diverse healthy foods, adequate water, clean air, shelter and protection, and care and attention. You might find that some techniques will meet multiple needs. Take a minute to compare this grouping to your own. Ask yourself if you think the programs you have worked on in the past have done a good job at ensuring that the soil in a garden has all of its basic needs met. Care and attention is the last category. This category refers to the attention a household pays to their soil and the time they spend applying a wide range of soil management techniques. With proper management, all soils can improve their health over time, but the first step is often paying attention to see if the techniques used are meeting the soil's basic needs. You will find more details of how to implement the techniques we will discuss here in the supplemental materials for this session on the course webpage. The primary method for improving soil health is to incorporate an abundance of organic materials into soils. Soils, particularly degraded soils, need to be fed a diverse diet frequently to make up for everything that is lost when crops are harvested and residue is removed. When organic materials are allowed to decompose in the soil, microorganisms can release their nutrients so they can be used again by crops. Organic materials also contain compounds that improve soil structure by gluing soil particles together, creating pores, and improving the soil's ability to store the water and air needed by plant roots. Permagardens use a variety of techniques to ensure soils are fed a diversity of organic materials. Some of these include mixing organic materials directly into garden beds. Households often have a variety of different organic materials available to them, such as dry animal manure, crop residue, green and dry leaves, charcoal dust, milling waste, bone dust, biochar, wood ash, and kitchen scraps. Composting organic materials in a pit or a pile and then adding them to the soil. Planting fertility plants where they can be easily accessed and incorporated into the soil. Fertility plants are locally available weedy plants that naturally contain a large amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. When chopped up and added to a garden bed, the nutrients from fertility plants are released as they decompose. Two fertility plants, Tithonia and Desmodium, are found across a large geographic area, and there are probably many other weedy leguminous species available in your area. Whenever possible, composting or digging crop residues and natural vegetation into the soil rather than burning them. Natural vegetation and crop residues are valuable sources of organic material. Clearing land through burning is a missed opportunity to use these resources. Many garden beds placed on poor soils have poor yields because soil compaction prevents crop roots from properly growing. Permagardens use a technique called double digging to loosen soil up to 60 centimeters deep to increase soil drainage and aeration and provide a good environment for root growth. This enables better growth even in areas with poor soils. Double digging involves first removing the topsoil layer to expose the subsoil or hard pan underneath, then breaking up this subsoil with a spade or hoe. The subsoil is enriched with soil amendments such as compost and chopped up fertility plants, and then the topsoil that was removed is replaced on top with soil amendments mixed in. The result is an uncompacted, nutrient-rich growing area. In addition to actively building soil health, permagardens use additional techniques to protect soils and prevent soil health from diminishing over time. Keeping soils covered with mulches or living plants protects them from erosion and preserves soil moisture. As mulches break down or plant roots grow within the soil, valuable organic material is also added to the soil. Planting shade plants on the western side of gardens to protect against the hot afternoon sun. Using biointensive planting to create a canopy that covers soil in garden beds. Permagardens use a hexagonal planting technique so that when crops are mature, their canopy fully covers the bed, decreasing moisture loss and raindrop impact while also fully utilizing the available garden bed space. Finally, minimizing compaction of garden beds by creating permanent pathways through the garden and never walking directly on garden beds. And by digging or plowing soils only when they are slightly wet rather than water-soaked. To loosen up hard soils prior to digging, pre-wet them and then allow them to dry slightly before digging.
In this session, we have seen that healthy soil is living soil. Living soil contains a diverse ecosystem of microorganisms and insects that decompose organic material and enrich the soil. Soil life is fueled by the continuous incorporation of new organic material and access to air and water throughout the soil profile. Healthy soils are necessary for growing strong, healthy crops. We can test the health of our soil using 7 rapid steps. These rapid steps can be done on any piece of land without expensive equipment. Soils need to be cared for and protected at all times, since soils can be easily damaged. Permagardens use a variety of techniques to do so, all of which meet one or more of the basic needs of soil. By using these techniques, the soils in permagardens can grow healthy, productive gardens season after season. That completes the learning for Session 4, Building Living Soils. Now, let's continue to Session 5, Biodiversity.